Hi everyone, welcome to Rodha. In today's video, I'll be discussing few questions of arithmetic here. Before we get into the video, I would like to announce the launch of the R4 batch. This batch is launching on 22nd of February. It's a morning batch where the timing would be 8 to 12 slots. So we'll have classes in 8 to 10 as well as 10 to 12 slots. Now it can be few days when you have only one session or maybe two sessions, but classes will be conducted on a regular basis. So 8 to 10 will be utilized for your QA sessions and 10 to 12 for your VRC and LRDI sessions, right? So the VRC here is taken by Ayush sir and KD sir, alright. LRDI will be taken by our Swapnil sir and Quant will be taken by me. So this batch is where we'll be, covering all the content from the very basic. We'll start with the fundamentals. We'll do the very elementary sessions that are required to, build up your base, especially for those who are non-engineers. And then slowly and gradually we will move on to the higher level questions. So that is what the plan is for this particular batch here, right? So if you guys feel that the morning time suits you and English batch is what you have been waiting for, you have been looking at, so you guys can definitely join this batch and we'll study very well throughout the year and we'll try to get into the top 10 B schools of the country by the end of this year, right? So I hope that everybody who joins this batch nails CAT 2025 and goes to best of the B schools. All right, so on that note, let's start with the questions here. So the very first question here says Mohan has money that he divides in the ratio of 1:2. Alright. He then deposits a smaller amount in a savings scheme that offers a certain rate of interest and the larger amount in another savings scheme that offers half of that rate of interest. Alright. Now I do not know that what is the rate of interest. I do not know what is the money he has. So I'll probably take it as, let's say 100x and 200x. So let's say he has 100x and 200x. Right now here, if he's investing at a certain rate of interest, so let's say that interest rate is 2R. Now why am I taking 2R? Because he invests the larger amount in another savings scheme that offers half of that rate of interest. So this is 2R, this will become R. If I would have taken this as R, then this would have become R by 2. So it's always a good idea to avoid fractions. Alright. Now both interests compounded yearly. Now interest is compounded. Okay, so this is compound interest. At the end of 2 years, the total interest earned from these two savings schemes is rupees 830. Okay, so we know that interest earned in total is rupees 830. Okay. It is known that one of the interest rate is 10%. Now we know that one of the interest rate is 10%. Now that could be either R or it could be 2R. Anything is possible, right? And that Mohan deposited more than 1000 in each saving scheme. So this value that is he has deposited here should be greater than 1000 in both the savings scheme. Then what is the value of M? So basically what is the money that Mohan has, right? So total money, that is 100x plus 200x. All right, so let's assume that 2R is 10%. Okay, so if 2R is 10%, then R is going to be 5%. All right, now if he has deposited, let's say 100x, okay, so at the end of 1 year this money is gonna grow by 10%. Right now, whatever value you get here, that will again grow by 10% because in compound interest, we'll also study in detail when we do our sessions. But compound interest it's always interest on interest. So whatever interest you earn on a money deposited gets added to your principal, and on that you earn the new interest, right? For example, if let's say 10% of 100x is, let's say 10x, right? So if he's earning 10x interest, so here the principal will become 110x, right? And now on this 110x, he'll be getting 10% interest. All right. So that is how it works. Okay. So basically it's a successive percentage increase. Whenever you're doing compound interest calculation, the amount CI is always, I would say, successive percentage change. Okay, percentage increase. Basically interest is always the increase, so I would say it as successive percentage increase, right? Now because it is only for 2 years, so I would rather use a formula here. Now we know that for 2% change, successive percentage change, the formula is x plus y plus xy by 100. So if an amount First changes by x%, then by y%. So we can calculate the effective overall change in the interest as x plus y plus xy by 100, overall increase, right? So now if there was a decrease, then you would put the value as negative, but this is the increase, so x plus y plus xy by 100, right? So 10% is the rate of interest here. So how much interest will be earned in 2 years effectively? So I'll say it will be nothing but 10 plus 10, that is x is also 10 and y is also 10, because both the changes are 10, plus 10 into 10 by 100. So this comes out to be nothing but, I would say, 21%, right? Now 21% on 100x, right? So 21% on 100x is basically interest earned will be how much? Okay, interest earned will be, I would say, 21x, right? Because I'm earning 21% on 100x, so 21% of 100x is basically 21x, right? Now 5%, so I'll say 5 plus 25 by 100, right? 5 into 5 by 100. So this is nothing but, I would say, 10 plus 1 by 4. So 10 plus 1 by 4 is 10.25%. So 10.25% on 200x. So if you calculate 10.25% on 200x, so basically you're doing 10.25 upon 100 into 200, right? So this and this is cancelled. 10.25 into 2 is basically 20.5x, right? So that is the interest earned. Now interest earned from the first scheme is 21x, from the second scheme is 20.5x. So can I say the total interest earned? Total interest is equal to, I would say, 21 plus 20.5x, right? So that will come out to be nothing but, I would say, 41.5x, and this value has been given to me as 830, right? So 41.5x is equal to 830. So in that case, I would say the value of x will come out to be nothing but 830 upon 41.5, right? So 830 upon 41.5. So I can just get rid of this decimal 2 times. So the value of x is equal to 20, right? So I have got the value of x as 20 here, right? Now if the value of x is 20, so I would say 100x will be how much in that case? So substitute x is 20 here. So this will become, I would say, 2000, and this would become 4000. So the total money that Mohan had with him is nothing but rupees 6,000, right? And that is there as one of the options as well. So that can be the answer. Now why am I saying that can be the answer? Because it says to solve this, the other interest rate must also be given. That is one of the options, right? So I also need to check ki what if R is 10% and 2R is 5%. That is also a possibility, right? Because it was given that one of the interest rate is 10%. I'm not sure ki kaun sa 10% tha. So when I assume this to be 10%, I'm getting my answer as 6,000, which is one of the possible options. But I need to check for the other case also, right? So let's check for the other case. So I'll just get rid of this place here where I've explained this percentage change here, and I'll try solving it here. So you all know what is percentage change now. So I can just remove this and I'll try to solve it here. So now when I take 2R as, when I take R as 10%, so we have 100x and we have 200x. So when I take R as 10%, so in that case, I'll say 2R will be nothing but, I would say, 5%, right? Because one of the interest rate is half of the other, right? At the end of 2 years, the total, it is known that one of the, no, this would become in that case 20%, not, sorry, R is 10%. Okay, so in that case, this will become 20%. All right. Now, 10% of 200x is basically 20x, right? 20, not 10%, sorry. It's a successive percentage change. My bad. So successive percentage, it's for 2 years, not for 1 year. If it was only 1 year, then I would have directly done 10% of 2x, right? But because this is a successive change, it's for 2 years. So I'll say 10% equivalent change is 21%. We have already seen that, right? So I'll be getting 21% interest from here. Now what is 21% of 200x? So 21% of 200x is basically, I would say, 42x, right? That is the interest earned from this scheme. Okay. Now 20% is the rate of interest. For 2 years, how much will I get? I'll say 20 plus 20 plus 20 into 20 by 100. So that is giving me basically 44% interest, right? Now, if it's a 44% interest, so 44% of 100x is basically, I would say, 44x interest earned, right? This is the interest earned from this scheme, okay? So in totality, 44x earned here and 42x earned here. So I would say in totality I have earned an interest of 86x, and this is given to me as 830, right? So from here the value of x will be, can I say 830 upon 86, isn't it? That will be 830 upon 86. Now can I say 830 upon 86, this value is definitely less than 10. Okay, now this value is definitely gonna be less than 10. Why? Because 86 into 10 is 860. This value is definitely going to be less than 10, isn't it? So if this value is less than 10, in that case, can I say 100x? If I put x as anything less than 10, this value will come out to be less than 1000, isn't it? And that is going to violate my given condition. That is, it was given here that Mohan deposited more than 1000 in e-savings scheme. But if I consider this case, when I'm taking R as 10% and then 2R turns out to be 20%. So if I'm considering this particular case, in that case, this value is coming out to be less than 1000, which is violating my this given condition. So that implies that this case is not possible. So the only possible answer is definitely 6000. Alright, so this was a slightly difficult question, but again, if your basics are in place, then you can definitely solve such difficult questions in one go, right? Alright, let's move to the next one here. It says Mr. Joes buys some eggs. After bringing the eggs home, he finds 2 to be rotten and throws them away. Okay. Of the remaining eggs, he puts 5 by 9th in his fridge and brings the rest to his mother's house. Alright. So I do not know how many eggs Mr. Joes has bought. Okay. He throws 2 of them away. Why? Because they are rotten, right? And of the remaining eggs, so whatever is remaining here, I do not know how many eggs are remaining, right? Whatever is remaining, he puts 5 by 9th in his fridge and brings the rest to his mother's house. Okay. So he puts 5 by 9th. Okay, 5 by 9 of this value in the fridge, okay, and brings the rest to his mother's house, right? So mother's house, so basically he'll be bringing 4 by 9th of this, because the entire fraction is always 1, right? Whenever you consider fraction, the total is always 1. So if this is 5 by 9 of this part here, right? So this part should be 4 by 9, right? So this 4 by 9 part he has brought to his mother's house, right? Now, she cooks 2 eggs and puts the rest in her fridge. Okay, so out of this eggs that have come to the mother's house, 2 of them get cooked here, right? And the rest goes in her fridge. Okay, so rest of them would go in the fridge here. That is what the condition is, right? Now, if her fridge cannot hold more than 5 eggs, okay, so the fridge cannot hold more than 5 eggs, so the number of eggs here should be less than or equal to 5, right? What is the maximum possible number of eggs bought by Mr. Joes? Okay, now I want to find the maximum possible number of eggs bought by Mr. Joes. All right, now obviously I can, you all can do this. You all can assume the initial number of x to be, let's say, x here, right? So you'll say, okay, so x minus 2x remain here, right? This is x minus 2 here, right? Then 5 by 9th are in the fridge, so 4 by 9 of x minus 2 would be going to the mother's house, right? Out of 4 by 9, 2 were cooked, okay, and the remaining were put in her fridge, right? So if 2 are cooked, so you subtract 2 from here, right? And you can obviously do this, right? This traditional method everybody can do, isn't it? But what I'm trying to teach you here is how to think smartly in exam scenario. That is what my main purpose is, right? This question is easy, but you have to be smart in solving, right? So when I was solving this question, I realized that, if you look at this distribution here, so you have to be very careful while seeing the distributions, right? So 5 by 9 and 4 by 9, right? And number of x can never be decimal value. It always has to be an integer, right? So if this value is 5 by 9, this value is 4 by 9. So the x at this point of time should be a multiple of 9, right? This should be a multiple of 9 here, right? So if this has to be a multiple of 9, so let's see what are the possible options which can be a multiple of 9 here. If I start with 20x, okay, let's look at the options here now. Let's try to utilize options. If I start with 20x here, 20 minus 2, yes, 18 is possible here, right? Of 18x, 4 by 9 are coming to the mother's house. So 4 by 9 of 18 is, can I say 6 eggs, right? Sorry, not 6. 8 eggs are coming to the mother's house, right? Now, if 8 eggs are coming to the mother's house and 2 of them get cooked, so remaining will be 6. Can 6x be stored in the fridge of the mother? No, it cannot be, because it has to be less than equal to 5. So that means 20 is not a possible answer, right? So 20 is definitely not a possible answer for me. So 20 is ruled out, right? Now, if 20 is ruled out from here, then I can straight away rule out 29 as well, because it's a higher value. If 20 is not getting you to less than 5 here, then 29 would anyways not get you to less than 5, okay? Now option number B, 17. If I start with 17, I'll be left with 15 here, right? Because 2 have been cooked. Is 15 a multiple of 9? No, so I can eliminate this option as well, right? If I start with 9x, right? If I start with 9x, so if I'm starting with 9, I'll be left with 7x here, right? Now 9 minus 2, because 2 have been rotten, sorry, 2 were rotten, so they have been thrown away. So out of 9, if 2 have been thrown away, I'll just pick a eraser here, just give me a minute. Yeah. So if I start with initially 9x, maximum number of x, let's say, is 9 for me. And if 2 of them have been rotten and thrown away, so 7 remains here. Is 7 a multiple of 9? No, it is not. So this option is also gone. So the only possible answer is option number E, that is 11. So instead of, going through traditional method, you should always look at logical shortcuts of solving questions. All right. Now let me just verify this 11 for you as well. Okay. So 11 here. So 9 remains, right? 4 by 9 of 9 is basically 4 itself. So 4 eggs reach to the mother's house. 2 have been cooked. So remaining 2 will be put in the fridge, and that is definitely less than equal to 5. So that should be my right answer, the maximum number of eggs here, right? So it's very important to, keep your eyes wide open when you're solving questions. You have to, be thorough about every single point that has been given, so that you're able to, solve your question very efficiently in the exam and save on time. अगर आप x मान के करते हो तो आपको ज़्यादा टाइम लगता है, right? So you have to save your time in such type of questions here. All right, let's move to the next one. It says an article is marked x% above the cost price. A discount of 2 by 3 x% is given on the mark price. So we all know that on the cost price, all right, if you apply a markup, right, if you apply a markup, you will be getting the mark price. ठीक है, आपको क्या मिलता है? Mark price मिलता है. So markup is mu that you apply on cost price and you get the mark price, right? So here a markup of x% has been applied. So this is x% markup, right? Now a discount of 2 by 3 x% is given on the mark price. So when you give a discount on mark price, you will be getting the selling price, right? So a discount of 2 by 3 x% has been given and you reach to the selling price here, right? Now further it says if the profit is 4% of the cost price, okay, and the value of x lies between 25 and 50, then the value of 50% of x is. So basically I'm supposed to find this x here, okay? Uske baad I can get 50% of x as well, right? Now understand that there's a profit of 4%. So profit is always calculated on the cost price, right? The profit is always calculated on the cost price. So from here to here, I can see the final increase is of 4% from cost price to selling price. The selling price is 4% more than the cost price. So in a way, can I say this is a successive percentage change? Pehle x% increase, markup is always percentage increase. Then 2 by 3 x% ka decrease because it's a discount. And overall, effectively, it's a 4% increase, right? So we know the formula for successive percentage change is basically x plus y plus xy by 100, right? Now let's try to use this formula here. So x is first percentage change is x itself, so I say x, okay, plus. Now next one is 2 by 3 x% discount. So remember, discount is always percentage decrease. So ये negative percentage change है ना, so I say minus 2 by 3x, all right, and I say here plus x into minus 2 by 3x upon 100, and this value has been given to me as nothing but 4. So what you can do here is you can multiply with 100 throughout and take 100 as a LCM on the left hand side और फिर उस 100 को इधर cross multiply कर दो. So what will I get? 100 into x will be 100x, right? Minus 100 into 2 will be 200 by 3x, right? And this will be nothing but minus x into minus 2 by 3x is nothing but minus 2 by 3 x square, and that 100 goes on the other side, so this will become 400 now, right? Now multiply by 3 as well. So if I multiply by 3, I'll get my final equation as 300x minus 200x, right, minus 2x square is equal to 1200, right? So this can be rearranged to write nothing but I would say 2x square, right? 300x minus 200x is 100x. Take it on the other side, like this minus 2x square I've taken on the other side. So I'll say 2x square minus 100x plus 1200 is equal to 0 here, right? I can divide this entire equation by 2, so I'll be getting x square minus 50x plus 600 is equal to 0. Now I'm supposed to factorize the 600 to get a 50. So I can factorize it as 13 to 20, right? So I'll say this can be written as x square minus 30x minus 20x plus 600 is equal to 0. So from here I'll be getting nothing but I would say x minus 30 into I would say x minus 20, right? So the value of x that you're getting from here is nothing but 20 comma 30. There are two possible values of x that I'm getting from here. But as per the question, the value of x lies between 25 and 50. So if the value of x lies between 25 and 50, so the only possible value of x is nothing but 30 here, right? And if x is 30, so 50% of x, that is half of 30 will be nothing but 50. So the answer is option number D for this particular question here. So this was again not a difficult one, but you need to be, very much aware about the fact कि कब आपको ये formula use करना है, right? And कब आपको multiplying factor use करना है. When this formula will make your life easy, and when would multiplying factor make your life easy? So you have to be very good with, understanding the situation कि कहाँ पे क्या better है, right? So this is something that you will learn with practice, and also we will keep telling you while we conduct sessions. All right. Let's move to the last question here for this video. Now, it's a question of mixtures and alligation. Let's see. It says a mixture comprises water and liquids A and B. Okay, so there is water in the mixture as well as there is liquid A and B in this mixture. All right. The volume of water is 1/3 of the total mixture. Okay, so volume of water is 1/3. That means 2/3 is A and B, right? If 1/3 is water, then 2/3 of the mixture is gonna be A and B, right? And the volume of liquid A and B in the ratio is 5:3. Okay, so A and B is in the ratio 5:3. That means total combined A and B is 8, right? Now, if 2/3 of the total mixture is 8, right? So what will be 1/3? 1/3 is half of 2/3, 2/3 ka half is 1/3 basically, right? So if 2/3 is 8, that means water has to be 4, which is the 1/3. And combined total mixture is 8 plus 4, that is 12, is all I know as of now. Okay? And these are ratios that I'm working on. All right. Now, to remove the water, the mixture is passed through a porous medium which completely absorbs the water and partially absorbs liquid A. All right. So this is the initial condition. Okay? This is the initial stage, right? Initially, this is my stage here. And then this mixture is passed through a porous medium. Okay? So we pass it through a porous medium, and what happens in that case, the water is absorbed completely, right? So water becomes 0 here for sure, right? Water is absorbed completely. Okay, and A and B, partially A has been absorbed. Now I do not know how much A has been absorbed, but some of A has been definitely absorbed, but water is completely absorbed, right? So water is 0, okay, because it completely absorbs the water here, right? Now altogether this porous medium absorbs 200 ml of the initial mixture. So we know that this porous medium has basically absorbed 200 ml of the initial mixture. So whatever is the total here, right, in terms of ratio 4 plus 8, this is 12 at the moment. So from this 200 ml will be absorbed by the porous medium. Okay. If the ratio of volume of liquid A and B in the residual concentrated mixture becomes 7:9. All right. So finally, A is to B is now 7:9 here. Okay. This A is to B is 7:9 here. Then find the volume of water absorbed by the porous medium. All right. Now you need to understand one thing here that is very important in such kind of questions in mixtures and alligation is कि you always focus on the quantity which is constant. ठीक है, जो भी मेरी quantity constant होती है, we always try to focus on that. For example, water has become 0, so water has changed. Some A has been also absorbed, right? It was given that, partially absorbs liquid A. So liquid A is also changing, but can I say B is constant? Whatever was the quantity here of B, the same quantity would be here as well, right? The quantity of B is not changing, right? And we know that quantity is always equal to concentration into volume, right? We are aware of the fact that quantity is always equal to concentration into volume. And I hope that most of you in your school days would have studied in chemistry, that is C1V1 is always equal to C2V2, right? That is initial concentration into initial volume is always equal to final concentration into final volume. Apply this formula on the quantity which is constant, right? So I can say quantity of B is constant. So what is the initial concentration of B? Okay, let's apply this on B here. So initial concentration of B is nothing but 3 out of total is 12, right? So I would say 3 by 12 into, let's say initial volume is V1. I do not know what is the initial volume, okay? Is equal to final concentration of B. Now the total quantity is 16 here, right? So 7 plus 9 is 16. Water is anyway 0 because it is completely absorbed. So now B is, can I say 9 by 16 here? So 9 by 16 into V2. So from here I can say that V1 by V2 will come out to be nothing but 9 by 16 into 12 by 3, right? So that is 3 4s and 4 4s. So 9 by 4. So I have got the ratio of V1 upon V2 as 9 over 4, right? So if initially V1 was 9, now it has become 4. Okay. Now understand here one thing. As per this ratio, initial volume is 9 and final volume is 4. So there's a decrease of 5 in the volume, right? Okay, there's a decrease of 5 in the volume, that is 5 ml has been absorbed by the porous medium. But as per the original question, if initial volume is V1 and the final volume is V2, so 200 ml has been absorbed by the porous medium because the actual value is 200 ml, right? So if 5 is the ratio value and actual value is 200 ml, so what is my multiplying factor? So I would say my multiplying factor is 40, because if I have to convert this 5 into 200, I need to multiply by 40. So can I say these values will also be multiplied by 40 because it's a multiplying factor, right? Always remember, to go to an actual value from a ratio value, we need the help of a multiplying factor, right? So that multiplying factor remains same throughout. For example, if I just take a small example here, if I say girls is to boys ratio is 3:5, okay, and I say that total students are 72, and then I ask you how many girls and how many boys are there. So you would say, sir, in terms of ratio, total students are 8. Okay, this is the ratio value, right? This is my ratio value here, but in actual the total students are 72 in number, right? So if actual value is 72 of the number of students, right? So you will say to get 8 to 72 I need to multiply by 9. So this 9 is a multiplying factor that takes you from ratio value to the actual value. So you'll multiply this also by 9 in that case, and this also by 9. So 5 into 9 is 45 boys and 27 girls, and if you add 27 and 45 you'll get 72, right? So similarly, as per the ratio, initial volume is 9 and final volume is 4. So there's a reduction of 5 in the volume, right? As per the ratio. But in actual, there should be a reduction of 200. So if 5 has to become 200, that means it has to be multiplied by 40, right? So 40 is a multiplying factor. So initial volume is, I would say, 360 ml, right? And the final volume is, I would say, 4 into 40, that is 160 ml, and that is how 200 has been absorbed. Now the question is asking me, find the volume of water absorbed by the porous medium. So how much water was present? That is entirely absorbed. So water is 4 out of 12. It is 1/3 of the mixture, right? 1/3 of 360 is how much? I can say 1/3 of 360 is basically 120. So there was 120 ml of water initially, and that has been completely absorbed. So the answer is definitely option number E here, right? So this was a pretty difficult level question, but if you understand the funda of concentration into volume, if you understand ratios well, if you understand percentages well, then you can definitely solve such difficult questions here, right? So always remember, for your arithmetic to be strong, your ratios, your percentages should be very, in place. These are the building blocks of arithmetic, right? So if your ratios and percentages are very well done, In that case, you can attack the questions in averages, in mixtures and alligation, in time, speed and distance, because everything revolves around ratios and percentages, right? And it is going to be of great help in quant based puzzles also in LRDI. So that is how, what the agenda is of our batch. Also, we start from percentages and we move to ratios gradually, then, so that we build the basics first, right? The fundamentals are in place, and then we can go on solving any level of problems. It would not be a challenge at all, right? So again, a quick reminder, guys, the batch is launching on 22nd. If you're willing to join, please make sure that you officially start from day one itself, because you would not want to have backlogs in the batch, right? On that note, I'll end this session. I hope you guys understood everything. If there are any doubts, please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you.